Hi guys. Today I want to talk about letting go. So being able to let go of your emotions is a powerful skill and it's a great thing to be able to do. It's a great, tool to have in your kit. Uh, Maybe the best tool to have in your kit because really everything in our lives is, controlled by emotions. Emotions really dictate most of our behavior even if we don't think so. In fact, people who believe themselves to be logical and objective are generally the people who are the most controlled by their emotions because rather than feeling the emotions, they suppress them and then believe they don't have them anymore because they're no longer aware of them. So, for people who feel the emotions, it can be quite painful, but it's actually uh, can be more damaging for people who don't feel them because they're suppressing them so deeply that they move out of their awareness and then those emotions start to control their behavior. And this can obviously lead to all kinds of problems in your life. So, at first, I'm going to talk about, letting go and what the process is and how emotions function. And then stay tuned at the end, stay to the end of the video because then I'm going to walk you through an exercise that's going to allow you to let go of your emotions. So, stay till then, and you can replay this video whenever you like and go through that process and be able to let go of your emotions. Eventually, you won't need a video, you would just be able to do it yourself. So, first, emotions. So, emotions naturally move through the body like the weather. So, emotions are something you feel in your body, and they move through your body. That emotion, that energy, moves through your body and usually only takes a few seconds. You can have big traumas, of course, and things where it lasts quite a bit longer than that. But generally, emotions will move through you fairly quickly. So they're like the weather, it's like a gust of wind. It comes through and it's gone. Sometimes once in a while there's a big tornado, but, that's not the norm. So that's the natural state, right? That's the natural state of human beings. But with our current culture and the complexity of the world, there's a lot of stresses that happen. And it used to be that when people were, hunting and gathering for food, that and there wasn't all the, the modern technologies and the complex society we have now. At that time, people learned to be able to suppress their emotions, right? So they learned to be able to push them down when they wanted to. And that was a valuable skill because during a crisis, there's a storm or a rock slide or a war or something. It's a good skill to be able to suppress your emotions so that you're not overwhelmed by feeling when you should be paying attention to this other thing. So it's not like it's a bad thing. There's nothing right or wrong, good or bad here. It's just that the skill to suppress emotions is beneficial when you're aware of it and when you have control of that skill. What's happened is it's become unconscious for most people, and we repress or suppress our emotions. Repression is when you're pushing your emotions out of your awareness and not experiencing them because it's at such a low level that it's completely outside of your awareness. You have no idea that you're doing it. Now, suppression is when the emotion starts to arise and just comes into your awareness. You go, oh God, I don't want to feel this way. This sucks. What can I do? And you go, and this is where addictions come from. You reach for whatever, something to drink or smoke or a pill to take or distract yourself with Facebook or Instagram. And that's what people do because they don't want to feel the emotion. So in that case, you're distracting yourself and suppressing the emotion. So you're purposely pushing it down. Although there can be a fine line between this. People can suppress things and it can be just barely inside their awareness. And it's so automatic they didn't really realize they're doing it. So they just kind of, the second it starts to come up, you push it down. So, and that's how most of us operate. We repress and suppress most of our emotions, especially if we don't like them, if we don't like the feeling of them. Now, usually with good emotions, we'll try to do the opposite. We'll hold on to them. We'll try to keep that feeling. If we feel positive in some way, we're feeling some kind of happiness or joy or pleasure, we try and hold on to it, most of us. And unfortunately, that has the same effect as suppressing or repressing it, because again, you're not allowing the emotion to take its natural course and just move through you like the weather. You're stopping it. I like to think of it as like a river. So picture a river, just moving along at a normal speed, and emotions are like, say, some leaves or sticks fall in the river and they move by. You should just be able to watch them move by. This is how you want to experience your emotions. And they'll, come into your awareness, they'll be right in front of you, then they'll slowly go away until they get smaller and smaller and disappear. And that's what emotions should do. Now, what happens is we will have emotions we don't like. And so that's a particular leaf or stick. Oh, I don't like that. So we run out into the river and grab a hold of it to stop it and try and get it out away, And really all that does is bury it inside us for later. And we do the same thing with positive ones. We run out and try and grab it and keep it, right? And neither of those things really is the natural state, so they both end up in us repressing, suppressing, and storing that emotion. So what happens in the body is that the energy of the emotion is moving through your body. It occurs in a certain place in your body. Usually when you feel an emotion, you can usually locate where in your body you're feeling it. But it should move through your body. So when you stop it, then that energy has to go somewhere. And what happens is it gets pushed down and stored in our organs, our muscles, our bones, even over long periods of time. So we're storing that energy in the tissues of our body, which is not beneficial to the tissues of our body to be storing all this energy in there. So it's good when you let go of emotions to be able to release some of this energy. That's why it's often called releasing, and let it move on its way. And this is what a lot of therapies are like, EMDR, CBT, is contacting that stored emotion and allowing it to release, because that's what trauma is. And really, the definition of trauma is not a bad event happening to you. What trauma is, effectively, is an event happens, an emotion comes up, you don't want to feel the emotion, so you stop feeling it and push it down. The stopping feeling the emotion and pushing it down is what the trauma is. That's what creates the trauma. In theory, if you were just able to feel the emotion in the event, no matter how bad it was, and not push it down, you would not have the same kind of trauma from it. It would not disturb and bother you years later. So that's why lots of therapies are about going back and being able to experience that emotion. And there's two kinds of letting go. There's the emotions from the past that we've stored because of some kind of trauma, big trauma or mini traumas. We have little traumas all the time that we're not even noticing. We're suppressing those too and not really paying attention to them. There's big ones, little ones. So you don't even have to have ever had a big one to have all this stuff stored. Just those little ones add up. And then the other thing is we have these things that are not from the past, but that are happening right now, today. We're going through, the normal human life of having emotions. They're coming up and we're stopping them and repressing them. And so we're building up more and more all the time. So that's why the skill is to be able to let go of the old ones, but also to be able to feel the new ones, the current ones that come up, so that you're not creating more, you're not adding more to that pile. So allowing yourself to be able to feel your emotions is part of the letting go process. So, and this process can be called the allowing process, the releasing process, the revealing process. There's a lot of different terms for it, but effectively it's being able to let go of both past and current emotions. Being able to let go of past emotions and, let's say, to allow yourself to feel and not hold on to current emotions. So one skill, this is part of the allowing, this is a good thing to do in your life. This will really help you with letting go, is just throughout your day, throughout your life, when an emotion comes up, just try and be aware of it. This is the first step. Just be aware of your emotions. Be aware when they come up. Just think, oh, okay, I'm feeling happy right now. I'm feeling sad right now. and try to just allow that emotion to exist. So if you feel sad, feel sad. If you feel uncomfortable, if you feel fear, allow yourself to feel it rather than trying to go get something to make it go away. So if you can just sit and feel that emotion instead of going on your computer or grabbing a drink or something, just allow that to happen. Just allow that emotion to come up and experience it. And don't hold on to it either, though. So, say fear. Fear is one that people can hold on to too. So the fear comes up, and people don't want to. This is where anxiety comes from. Don't want to experience it so badly that they're pushing it away, pushing it away, pushing away. But it could be so strong that they can't push it all away, right? So you're pushing a bunch of it away, but some of it's coming up anyway. And then if you try and allow it halfway, just try, oh, okay, I'll let some of it up. Then you just get this stronger emotion, right? You get this stronger anxiety. So you don't want to do that either. You have to allow the whole thing. You just got to let the whole thing, it'll wash over you like a wave. Usually it'll be big for a second or two, and then it'll be, gone. It'll fade away. So, but it's good to have, before you try and do something like that, with a big fear, it's good to have the exercise to be able to release. So, but the first step is just to be able to be aware of your emotions and allow yourself to feel them. Right there, that can change your life. And then the next step is to be able to do the letting go process or the releasing process. So with the releasing process, it's about accepting and welcoming. I like to call welcoming is another thing to call it, and I like that term because then you're welcoming the thing, and it's a receptive, friendly, loving stance. Because this is another important aspect of this. If it's done mechanically or even like aggressively in a way that's not gentle and not loving, then you're creating other kinds of problems. So you want to treat yourself in a gentle, loving way, really all the time. But especially when you're allowing your emotions, there shouldn't be anything forced. There shouldn't be anything that you don't want to use willpower. We're really used to in our society of just work harder, just try harder, just work longer, just do your best, do better, but in this instance, willpower is going to backfire on you. Willpower and effort are not going to make it work better. They're going to make it work worse, and it really can derail things. So you don't want to use hard willpower, because the willpower isn't kind and it isn't gentle. You're not being kind and gentle with yourself. And when you're allowing an emotion, it's a healing process. And for healing, you want to be kind and gentle. I mean, you don't want to go to a doctor and have them be gruff and throwing things around and pushing you. And, it's just, that's not part of the healing process. It doesn't work well like that. The healing process needs to be a loving, gentle process. Okay, so now let's do the letting go process. So think of something in your life that you'd like to change, something that's not working for you. Just whatever it is. It could be about anything: finances, health, relationship, anything. And now whatever comes up around that, whatever emotions, sensations in your body, thoughts, images, sounds, whatever comes up around that, just let it be there. Just welcome it in. And whatever those feelings are, just allow yourself to feel them, as best you can. You don't have to work hard at it. You don't have to put out any effort. Just whatever comes up, just let it be there. Let it do its thing. You don't have to force anything. And now be aware if there's part of you that wants to fix this, that wants to change it, doesn't like it. Now welcome that part of you. Welcome the wanting to fix it. And whatever comes up with that, whatever other emotions, thoughts, sounds come up with that, allow those to be there, just as best you can. And do this in a loving way, an accepting way. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to try. You can't do this wrong. Just allow that all to be there as best you can. Now be aware, is there a part of you that connects this story, this idea to you, that it's about you, that it's part of you, that it's part of your life? And if there is, just allow that part to come in. Just whatever arises from that, welcome that part, whatever arises, just allow that to be there as best you can. And now just see if you can let a little bit of that go. Just let that energy move along on its natural path. That means just don't do anything to it. Just let it continue on its path. You have the inherent ability to do this. See if you can just let go of a tiny bit of it. You don't have to let go of all of it, just a tiny bit. A tiny bit makes a huge difference. So just see if you can let go of a tiny bit of that. Okay, now let's run through that cycle a couple more times. So think of that thing that you'd like to change. And whatever arises from that, just welcome it in. Just allow it to be there. We're just allowing things to be as they already are. So it shouldn't take any effort. And now notice if there's a part of you that wants to fix or change it. And just welcome that part. Allow that part in. And again, don't make any effort. And now see if there's a part of you that connects this feeling, this situation to you, that it's part of your life, that it's your thing, that you have ownership of it. And welcome that part in, and all that comes with it, whatever sounds, images, thoughts, all of it. Just allow it all to do what it's doing. Just let it live its own life. And now let go of a tiny bit of it, just as best you can. And if you don't feel anything, that's fine. It's still working. You can't do it wrong. Just a tiny, tiny bit. If this has been there a long time, it might seem difficult. It might seem like it's not moving, like it's stuck and you're not feeling anything. And that's okay, but it's still working. It's still moving. It's just been there a long time and you're used to it and you're just not feeling it right now. But that's okay. Now let's run through this a couple more times. So think of that thing again. And whatever comes up, just allow it to be there as best you can. Just welcome it in. whatever emotions, sensations, thoughts, sounds, images. Just allow them to be there as best you can. And now notice if there's part of you that wants to fix it, wants to change it. And welcome that part in. Allow that to be there as best you can, along with everything that comes up. And just let this happen. Don't try. And also, sometimes we can try not to try. So just be aware of that. And welcome that in. Whatever comes up. If you feel like you're trying, then welcome that. If you feel like you're trying to try, then welcome that. Whatever happens. And now, be aware if there's a part of it that seems like it's about you, that it's identified with you, that you've taken ownership of it, that it's part of your life. And if that's there, then welcome that. And welcome all the sensations, feelings, sounds, sights that come with it. And just let it all live its life. Let it all do what it wants to do. You just watch. And now see if you can let go a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of it. Just let it go on its way. And now think of that same thing again. The thing you wish were different. And whatever comes up with that, whatever sights, sounds, images, sensations, feelings, emotions, just feel them as best you can. Just let them live their lives. And now notice if there's part of you that would like to fix it, to change it. And welcome that part in. And whatever comes with it, whatever feelings. And just let them be there as best you can. And now notice if there's part of you that believes this is yours, that's taken ownership of it. And welcome that part in. Welcome it with open arms. Allow it to come right in. And now see if you can just let it all go. Just let all of it go. Just drop it. Let it unravel. Let's run through that one more time. Now think of that thing again that you'd like to change. And whatever emotions come up, whatever thoughts, sounds, images, sensations in your body, welcome them in. Allow them to be there, just as best you can. And now see if there's any part of you that wants to fix it. And welcome that part in too. Allow whatever arises with that. Just let it do what it's doing. Just observe it. Now notice if there's part of you that identifies with this, that takes ownership of it, that it's yours, that it's personal. And welcome that part in. Just allow it to be there as best you can. And welcome whatever arises. And now just let go. Let go of a little or more. Just let go of the whole thing. Let it just go. Let it melt, vanish, disappear. Okay, now if you'd like, you can repeat this process. You can go back and listen to the video again, and you can repeat it several times for as long as you'd like until you feel like you're finished, you feel like you've released enough, or you feel like it's gone. You can just do it to whatever length of time you feel comfortable with. Okay. So now you have this tool that you can use anytime to let go of whatever emotions are coming up. And you can use it when you're feeling like this emotion is really coming up for you strongly, or you can just use it, which I recommend, on a daily basis to go through emotions from the past and emotions that are stored, so you can let go of those as well. Because whenever something comes up, often in the day a small emotion will come up and it will pull up with it an old emotion from a trauma. So that's why people often seem to be reacting out of proportion to what's happening, because the old emotion is coming up with it. So it's good to clear some of those out if you can. All right, you can remember to subscribe and like and follow.